Well, good evening, one and all, and welcome to Clothier Field here in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, on the campus of Swarthmore College for the last game of the Centennial Conference regular season as the Swarthmore Garnet play host to the Haverford Forwards here on the Centennial Conference Network. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew Harvey, joined as always in the booth by Jim Harvey, member of the Swarthmore class of '78. Of course, my father, who played in goal all 4 years here at Swarthmore, was the starting keeper in that 1974 team that played in the national championship game. Jim, it's Swarthmore. It's Haverford. The floodlights are beaming down, and it is time to go to war.
Yeah, you know, it's been a fun day of rivalry between the two colleges. We had the women's game at noon. There was a women's field hockey game in the afternoon, and now the men here at night. It doesn't matter what the standings are, what's going on. The key is these two teams are arch rivals, and today means everything for each one of them.
Let's meet the starting 11 for both teams. Up first for the visiting Haverford Forwards. In goals, Dylan Iafreda, the outfield, Caleb Miller, Max Maurer, Matt Hine, Luca Mello, Meinhard Redtrout, Paul-Andre Koulibaly, Tomas Ascoli, Ben Ward, Juan Rivera, and Brian Lorenz. On the other side of things, for the Garnet, in goals, Aiden Cerveny. The outfield, Derek Moyth, Cole Smith, Leo Hecht, Stathis Calafias, Freddie Lynn, Matthew Ward, Sean Nolan, Jackson Haynes, Brandon Cramlett, and Oliver Garcia. Both these teams on the outside looking in as far as the playoffs are concerned. They will not reach the promised land. A 1-5-2 conference record for both of them. But whoever takes 3 points here tonight can at least claim they finished on top of their fierce rivals from just a few miles away, Jim.
Yeah, no, it's always, and that's one of the things that's so great about college sports when you have these arch rivalries, because it doesn't matter what the sport is. It's, you know, out in Seattle where we're from, it's Washington versus Washington State, and it's the Apple Cup no matter whether they're playing volleyball, basketball, football, soccer, it doesn't matter. So this is a great evening. These guys are very, fired up. We should see some very good, highly competitive soccer here this evening.
Well, the Garnet in white with black shorts will move from left to right on your screen here in the first half. The Forwards in all black with red vertical hoops on the front of the kits will move from right to left. And it is a perfect October evening for soccer here in Pennsylvania, Jim. A little bit on the frigid side, probably temps dipping down into the high 40s. But it's been everything you could ask for out of the day. Not a cloud in the sky, nice and sunny, and now you've got this great atmosphere, the floodlights beaming down as you're ready to play some rivalry soccer.
Yeah, and the college has done a wonderful job in the facility here. Brand new field surface, which clearly, as we were commenting earlier today, has got lots of different lines on it because it's used for so many different competitive athletic contests. But should be an excellent evening of competitive soccer in the Centennial Conference Final for both of these squads.
Meinhard Redtrout is over the ball and gets us underway. 90 minutes of Centennial Conference action here on a picture-perfect Saturday evening. Jim, obviously we talked about the national championship that you played in here in your time at Swarthmore. You're familiar, about as familiar as anyone can be with this rivalry in particular. Sometimes there's an awful lot on the line, Jim, and sometimes it's just you got a batch of seniors, and this is the end of the road.
Yeah, it's a pride contest, no matter what the standings are. You know, if one team has a playoff contention or is on the bubble and the other team can ruin it, they want to be a buster, then there's that. In this case, it's just two teams that want to play a competitive match and come out with bragging rights for the next 12 months.
Here's Maurer. Intercepted, but it was handled in the process. Oliver Garcia. Judge guilty of handball there. Garcia got a bit of a throwback going on. I think he's got the full leg sleeves underneath the shorts. That's classy, Jim. You don't see that in this day and age.
Yeah. Well, I think it demonstrates possibly where he's from, because those of us in northern climates are used to playing in just shorts, but that's okay.
Taken here by Paul-Andre Koulibaly, and he's very much the man to watch for the Fords tonight. In the danger man. For the Garnet, it's really all about the seniors, especially Sean Nolan. Had over 4,000 minutes in his collegiate career, Jim. He's been Mr. Dependable. And there he is being dispossessed. Taken away here by Lorenz. Played off outside the penalty area. Shot, and that one whistling wide of the post from Tomas Ascoli. Early effort here, 3 minutes in.
Yeah, and you've got to be careful with those kinds of distributions through the center of the midfield, because if you give it up as they did, as the Garnet did in that case, you end up with a shot. And that didn't miss by much. Had good pace, good amplitude, just barely missed the left post.
Jim, obviously great to get you back here to your alma mater and into the booth, and your involvement with the beautiful game didn't just end after your time playing for the Garnet, or I should say playing as a little Quaker, as the mascot was back in your day.
Yeah.
But that's a real throwback. I understand with Penn being the Quakers and all, but that's...
Well, yeah, we didn't learn about what our official mascot was until we were in the tournament.
And from Freddie Lynn.
And I was reading in the newspaper in Chicago, it said little Quaker goalkeeper Jim Harvey. I'm like, what? That strikes fear in the heart of everybody, doesn't it? Quakers? Okay.
Well, all you needed was the fighting little Quakers.
Well, yeah, but I'm sorry. Nobody would believe it anyway.
Well,
So
obviously spent a number of I was going to say years, it should be decades as a coach, as a referee. You helped coach the ODP Region 1 out there in the Pacific Northwest. So obviously a very well-established pedigree for you, and I'm no slouch myself.
well, don't sell yourself short, Andrew. I think you're a tremendous slouch, to quote it.
Oh, thank you very much for that. It's your honor, Your Honor. Ball ping-ponging back and forth around midfield here. And the Fords have had the better run of possession so far. And that is a dangerous ball into space up the far side. Cutting in a left-footed shot, stopped by Cerveny. The rebound gets beyond him and trickles in. It's an early goal for Haverford. 5th minute, and the Fords up 1-0.
Well, this sounds familiar, because that's exactly what happened earlier today with the women getting an early goal. And so now the Garnet has to regroup. And remember, it's only 5 minutes into the game. They can't hang their head. They've got to get it back. One of the things that we did talk to Coach Wagner about before in our preparatory interview with him last week was the importance of his diamond midfield. And in that case, Haverford did a beautiful job simply bypassing it with a good diagonal through ball. And the ball came across, a good shot, and Cerveny gave up a rebound, and unfortunately, Krall gave up a rebound, and unfortunately that ended up being, I was right. Cerveny gave up a rebound, and it got back into the net. So an unfortunate start for the Garnet, a very fortunate start for the Fords.
Well, we've seen Dean Chong come on here for the Garnet. Brief delay to the restart of play there. Cole Smith, one of the 5 seniors on this Garnet side, who has been battling injury all season long, able to start tonight, play those first 5 minutes, not involved in the breakdown in play that led to the goal. But unfortunately, his injury's in a place now where the safest thing for him is to come off, but still, especially even being down a goal, Jim, a big moment for the senior to get one last chance to say goodbye to Clothier Field.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And, it's interesting. You're playing, you're going year to year, and then suddenly the end shows up, and it's very bittersweet. It's a strange thing, because your entire focus, if you're a serious athlete, is doing your best, getting better, and now suddenly it's over.
Back underway, and just like that, the rest of the Garnet will have to press on here. Through ball there, pelted away from Reintrup, all the way back to Max Maurer.
Yeah, I'd be surprised that Haverford would be able to complete, passes through the center of the midfield with that diamond-shaped midfield four that Coach Wagner is playing. So that's something to keep an eye on, because the first goal was not set up by going through the middle of the field. It was a nice diagonal ball to the wing, and then a very dangerous shot and a rebound.
Coming in here to Nolan. Floating over the top toward Garcia. Rattling around, Garcia lays it off there. Clothier. Clothier, the Englishman, tried the wide ball, and it's hooked away by Ben Ward. Well, very nearly a brilliant job by Koulibaly to hold that ball in play. Assistant referee on the near side says it was in touch. Clothier came through the Queen's Park Rangers Academy system. Tries a ball to the far side. Can't find Leo Hecht.
Yeah, Clothier has a wonderful, energizing movement with the ball at his feet. Very precise, very sharp turns. Clearly someone who's used to being in a position of distributing effectively in the offensive third of the pitch.
Here's Tomas Ascoli trying to pick out Koulibaly. Koulibaly could be in here. A low shot. It's 2-0. The Fords off to a rip-roaring start. They've got 2 goals in 3 minutes.
Well, and there you have it. I mean, a beautiful counterattack. Koulibaly doing a great job of not overcooking that shot. He got his opportunity. He put it to the left. Cerveny was not able to get down to it. And so now, the Garnet really find themselves in a hole just 7 minutes into the match.
Jim, you never want to concede an early goal. We apologize as we're working through but maybe some technical difficulties here on our end on the broadcast side. But we hope to have those resolved for you shortly. In any event, Jim, Swarthmore down 2-0 here in the early minutes here at Clothier Field. I guess, Jim, there's no good time to give up a multi-goal lead in a match, especially against a conference rival. But if you do it earlier in the match, I guess you do have more time to get back. This ball might drop in for Freddie Lynn. It just takes that accelerating skip off the turf.
And that's something that you would see whether it was grass or not. That ball had backspin and hit the pitch and sort of pitched forward. But I think what you were driving at really makes a lot of sense. It's never a good idea to give up a 2-goal lead, but better to do it 7 minutes into the match than 7 minutes from the end of the match.
Koulibaly wins the header. Here's Garcia. Koulibaly takes over. And Koulibaly quickly turning into a one-man wrecking crew. Trying to work with Miller there. Garcia charges back and wins the ball.
Yeah, good team defense there by Swarthmore. You like to talk about hunting in packs. They did a good job there doing just that. And that was handled by Luca Mello of the Fords. I think it's important for Swarthmore to settle down and not try to get it all back right away, because it's got to come from the run of play. If they're too overamped, the chances are they'll make mental mistakes.
Ascoli trying to work up the far side. And tipped away from Luca Mello.
It was a nice job by Jackson Haynes there to clear that ball out and let his defense get set up.
Haynes, a player who are in our conversation with Swarthmore head coach Eric Wagner, just really high on the young first year, coming in here and tough to adjust, especially as a center back, to the collegiate speed of play, to the differences in the game from the high school level, but Haynes has come in and proven himself ready.
And obviously as a coach, as well as his teammates, to know that you've got that kind of a solid defender who's now got experience, no longer a rookie, and looking forward to 3 more years of his play is something to behold.
Koulibaly pressing up the near side here.
Yeah, very, very slick move there. Kind of a double hit to set up his teammate.
Mello inside the area, on his left foot, cuts back, a toe poke shot, cleared only as far as Mello. Follow-up effort blocked cold. That's Derek Moif, the senior, going to ground. Here's Clothier with some room to work. Near side to BC Cramlett. Garcia on the far side. Garcia slicing in, goes to ground. Can't retain possession.
Yeah, that was really the first nice passing combination that we've seen from the Garnet in terms of creating a possible goal-scoring opportunity. Unfortunately, the pass got intercepted and cleared productively by the forwards.
Garcia looking through for Calatheus.
Yeah, and that's going to be a tough ball for Calatheus to win, given his height and the competitive height of the forward center backs.
Hard challenge there along the touchline. It will be a free kick. Calatheus upended, and now some extracurriculars between he and Caleb Miller. I don't think they're exchanging addresses to send one another Christmas cards.
Yeah, now the ref doing a good job of calling him over and saying, hey, knock it off. It's interesting when you see a good referee, they do talk to players, but they also don't hesitate when it's necessary to pull out various colored cards if needed.
Iafreda unchallenged for that set piece in the air. Here's Maurer. Near side to Miller. Koulibaly. And it is a job and a half trying to hold off Koulibaly. They're going to go into space here from Mello. Along the far touchline, Koulibaly dropping in support. Further back to Heim. Lorenz. Mello. Left-footed cross toward Koulibaly. Got to head to it. And Cerveny untroubled by the end result.
Yeah, Koulibaly is a very gifted-looking athlete. I mean, he's very quick, has obviously great foot skills, and moves that he doesn't hesitate to use. At one point, he split 2 defenders with basically a double hit. Hit from the inside of one foot to hit to the other, right to a teammate who was able to switch the point of attack, and that's very important in men's college soccer.
Unforced turnover there from Lynn. Koulibaly racing ahead. Absorbs a bit of a tug. Koulibaly slicing through. Shot blocked by Haynes. Sean Nolan deals away upfield as far as Garcia. Calatheus comes charging in. Won the ball cleanly. To the chagrin of Tomas Ascoli, I might add.
We have to say that Haverford is clearly the more organized, patient team with the ball at their feet. I mean, they have dominated possession. Swarthmore has really struggled to even, put together a string of more than 2 or 3 passes before losing the ball. So, if this is clearly something that Coach Wagner will be talking about at halftime, is being a little more patient and not rushing so much.
Koulibaly fights his way back to that ball, cuts to the left. It's a big step, and the referee says no, he didn't get the ball, but Koulibaly was never going to get back to the ball. And Jim, sometimes that sort of excuses a trip. if it happens
Well,
so far off.
and in that case, the fact that Koulibaly came down looking at the referee, that's pretty much a signal that if it was a call, it was going to be a soft call. So I think the referee's doing a nice job in that case of not falling for it. It is a particular pet peeve of mine to watch players basically play for fouls. And, you know, it's nice to see a referee that says, nope, not doing it.
Swung near side to Miller. Ascoli.
Yeah, beautiful wall pass by Koulibaly there.
Looking for Rentrup. Has his pocket picked by a pair of Swarthmore players. Dean Chong upended. Freddie Lynn playing with advantage here. They picked out Clothier. Garcia was pressing the near touchline, but Clothier didn't see him. Now Nolan. Garcia. Moving up the inside. Cramblett looking for Lynn. The return. And Haverford clears their own lines courtesy of Ben Ward.
Yeah, good decision by Jackson Haynes there just to take the pressure off, turn, knock it back to his keeper, let his teammates spread the pitch. But you cannot give the ball up there.
Here's Koulibaly working atop the penalty area, springing out wide, and Lorenz doesn't have to force it into touch. Looks like it'll be a long throw here from Caleb Miller. No, they've gone short. Lorenz back to Miller. There's Chong.
You'd have to say that Haverford is quicker to the ball, more aggressive to the ball so far in the match, and you're to their benefit. I mean, they've got the shots, they've got the possession.
Here comes Henry Lynn, younger brother of Freddie Lynn, and it looks like he's being moved right to left back to try to deal with the Luca Mello problem. That's where the first goal came from. Derek Muth, the senior, coming off now. Long throw. Miller into Heim. Koulibaly. Heim trying to rumble his way through. And that's enough for a corner. First of the match. So here's Caleb Miller, the left back. Driven ball to the near post. Dangerous run. I think that was Ascoli.
Yeah, clearly that was a design play. The difficulty is that if Swarthmore doesn't have a man at the near post, that's a very effective set piece on a corner because there's nobody there in case the goalie can't make it all the way out to the post to block a near post shot.
Inspired build-up play here from the Garnet. Calafias goes straight vertical. Lynn gives chase. And Dylan Iafreda, outside of that set piece, has not had much to do here over the span of nearly 20 minutes.
Yeah, and Iafreda very quick to come off his line and very appropriate to do so because another stride or two, and that would have been a very dangerous opportunity for Swarthmore.
Clever back heel there, springs Garcia. Now Henry Lynn, Calafias. Lipped away from Leo Hecht. Forwards looking to play on the break. They find Mello. Heim. Near side, Lorenz. Jackson Haynes picks the pocket of Meinhardt Reintrup.
Yeah, Haverford very patient working the ball around the pitch. One of the things that you notice is just their width. They're maintaining the width of the field, which opens up passing lanes, which is very important. So far, very impressed with Haverford's game plan, and they're executing it very well.
Freda lobs that out to the far side. Gone for Juan Rivera. High floating effort here, headed away from Koulibaly. Ascoli. Still fighting here. Come out wide to Miller. It's a low cross, loose. Koulibaly can't square his hips to it. Low cross there. Reintrup let it run only as far as Heim on the clearance. Koulibaly, top the 18. Another low shot, blocked at the point of attack. Miller. Koulibaly. And the ball had gone out of play before Miller got to it. This is Miller. Heavy touch to the inside. And escorted out of play by Sean Nolan.
Yeah, nice job by Sean Nolan there to allow his team to kind of get reset here.
Here comes Liam O'Malley, a senior from Fayetteville, New York. On for Luca Mello.
Coming in for Haverford, number 11, Liam O'Malley.
Forwards have the ball back at midfield. See now Joseph Ayalawope, pardon me, getting set to check in at midfield. just beyond the outstretched foot of Cramblett. Over to Rivera. Here's O'Malley. Here's Lawrence. Heim. Pulled away from him. Leo Hecht pressing on here. Gone back inside toward Freddie Lynn. Dean Chong overhits the outward service.
Again, you get the sense that Swarthmore's resting just a little bit when the ball's at their feet. That pass, did he have to push that forward? He could have turned back, had support behind him. So I think it's a good teachable moment for the coach going into halftime. And this game could change dramatically should Swarthmore, score one, because now suddenly they're back in the match. We talk about 2-0 being the most dangerous lead in soccer for that very reason.
That's Garcia pulling the ball out of the pile. Hecht. Here's Clothier. Clothier slicing in a left-footed effort to the near post that misses wide right. Well, that is the quality of the Englishman on display, Jim. He only needs an inch, and he can take a mile.
Yeah, and that's what you need to see out of Swarthmore. I mean, they need to scare the keeper a little bit and follow up the shot, because had that been, for example, to the far post, the goalkeeper would have been lucky to get a hand on it, and then you need a teammate making a belief run that they're gonna get to the far post and pick up that rebound. So. A nice bright spot for what has been somewhat of a dim start for the host Garnet tonight.
Ayala Wope is on now for Freddie Lynn. Freda. It's a low service. Jackson Haynes bats it down, leaves the ball behind. It's picked away by Matt Heim. Haynes forced into a rash challenge there, and the referee sees enough in it to give a free kick and a little bit extra. Jackson Haynes going to be booked here in the 28th minute.
Yeah, and Jackson Haynes has been leaving his feet a lot. In an earlier challenge, I almost made the comment that, his cleats weren't necessarily up, but they weren't down. Clearly when you're a yard and a half behind the player who has the ball at his feet and dribbling on, and you slide, it's going to be an instant yellow card. So that's again another teachable moment for the young defender.
And that is Haynes' 5th caution on the season. That Jim, yellow card accumulation, not much of an issue, considering that this is the last match of the season for these two teams.
Right.
Just has to worry about accumulating a second card.
I mean, there's nothing outwardly malicious in the challenge, but it just wasn't a very smart one, given the circumstances.
Here's O'Malley, turned inside, good-looking cross. And that is Haynes going up in a big way, nodding that ball out. We'll have a double sub, one apiece. On comes Andrew Stevens for the forwards. And Antonio Caligari checking in for Swarthmore. Setting up this corner. Long ball lofted in. Headed up and over. serve, and he gets us back underway. Calafias. Matthew Lorig. Calafias inside toward Hecht. Ooh. Well, Hecht either has eyes in the back of his head or he's a very lucky boy there. Maybe it's a bit of both. Dodged a freight train coming through the backside. Can't dodge Miller, though. They pick out Stevens. Gone wide for O'Malley.
Well, great job of keeping that ball in there on the far side. Because I thought Koulibaly's pass just had a little too much on it, and he did a great job to keep that in.
Garcia. Miller past midfield. Gone near for Calafias. Well, Jim, you can see what Eric Wagner has been talking about with his Swarthmore Garnet side is they've got no shortage of quality through the middle of the park, some really stout defenders. But the final ball and that last link-up ball entering the final third just hasn't been there. Tonight it's been a matter of getting on the ball to send that pass.
Well, and quite frankly, they haven't had the ball in position to even make that final pass for most of this first half. Clothier has done a good job when he has the opportunity. But there's a big space between the defensive center mids and the forwards, and Haverford is owning that midfield.
We've played a half hour here at Clothier Field, 2-0 in favor of the visiting Haverford forwards. And the goals came early, 5th minute and then 7th minute. Garnet looking to rally. Dean Chong, great acceleration, has Garcia out wide. Aialowope lurking at the back post. Brings that ball down beautifully. Pulls a goal back for Swarthmore.
Okay, and that was a beautiful cross. And Aialowope, what I was impressed with, the ball came to his feet, and he just tucked it in the net. Now, that completely changes the feeling of this match, because now Haverford knows they've got a person up there who can tuck it in the net. He didn't overhit it. He didn't panic, and it was a fabulous cross, just over the top of the head of the central defender for the forwards, and Aialowope just tucked it in. Beautiful goal.
I mean, Jim, he looked about as casual as someone would going through the breakfast line, going, I'll have a bit of this, I'll have a bit of that, and thank you very much.
Yeah, no doubt. And, you'll see this will change the energy level for the Swarthmore players, because now they have a belief. You go down 2-0, and no matter how stout you are psychologically, it's tough. But you get that goal back, now you're just down by 1, and the forwards are thinking, oh, okay, well, maybe that quick 2-goal lead won't hold up.
Jim, the quality of the service from Garcia, obvious. The quality of the touch and the finish from Aialowope, also obvious. Talk to me about the run by Dean Chong to spring that move up the right side.
Well, quite frankly, Dean Chong's acceleration, I thought he was dragging the ball too much, meaning he was dribbling too much. But then he made that high-quality pass to Garcia, and Garcia did a beautiful job of tucking it.
Here's Garcia again. Just nicked away from him by Ben Ward. Swung far side, over to Rivera. Kaito Hikino waiting to check in. Another Seattle native, played his club ball at Pac Northwest. And Jim, you and I probably the only people out here who know what that means. Swarthmore turns it over there. They've gone out wide. This is Stevens. Thumped in. Knocked out by Sean Nolan. loose effort and a shot spraying well wide. In fact, gone out for a throw-in, not a goal kick.
Yeah, and there was a challenge back there that the Swarthmore fans were objecting to, and yeah, the referee could have called it, but on the other hand, he was already slightly off of his balance and falling when he ran into the forward player. I think the referee did the right thing by letting the play go on.
Jim, there's no room for objective judgment here. This is a rivalry night. We need mindless tribalism.
Well, I'm happy to do that too, but in this case, I think it. Well, this is quite good soccer, and so it'd be nice to.
Enticing ball here for Aquino, and a strong challenge from Miller. That's good defending.
Yeah, Miller seems like he likes the physical play. It'll be interesting to see if he creates a foul that brings out a colored card for him.
Hecht fights off Stevens. Aquino. Nolan. Going square.
Yeah, I would like to see more pace on that square ball that he just played.
Henry Lynn. Here's Koulibaly, deep in his own end. And Leo Hecht very patient defensively there. Pushed from behind. And nothing in it, says the referee.
Well, clearly this referee likes to let him play, and I tend to be the same kind of referee myself. I'd rather see that than a lot of whistles interrupting play.
Joey Carroll back to Iofreda here, and he had a lot of pressure in his face. Floats that over to Miller. That's Ward.
Yeah, very sloppy first touch there by Sean Nolan. Sure, that's not what he wanted.
Ward jumps the route for Ayalawope. Ascoli. Force back, that's a heavy touch. Garcia can't quite get to it. Boy, lucky there is Ben Ward that he's able to recover from that.
Yeah, because that would have been a very simple 1-2 to Ayalawope.
It's Dean Chong. He's pulled it down once again. He's looking for Ayalawope. He's found him. Ayalawope on his right foot fires and skies it over the crossbar.
That's oh, wow. I thought that went over the defender, and they're giving it a goal kick, so that's interesting. Because I thought it went off the defender's foot myself.
So no deflection. According to the refereeing crew, Ayalawope's weight just too far back. Twice now in the span of 10 minutes, Jim, Dean Chong has kind of reached out of nowhere, sort of emerged from the void, and sparked a quality offensive chance.
Well, this is the kind of activity that the Garnet needs to get back into this match.
Miller, a rare miss. That'll be a turnover. Thrown to Aquino. Aquino operating from the school of if I grab the ball fast enough, it must be my throw-in, and the assistant referee agrees. You've never coached your players to do that, Jim.
Yes, all the time.
Stevens down like he's been shot after backing into Sean Nolan. That'll be a free kick.
Yeah.
Now, Stevens, lucky he didn't injure himself taking so many steps back into the body of Sean Nolan there.
Well.
Got to keep an eye out. It's a dangerous game, Jim.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, you hate to see that, and you hate to say it, because unfortunately, along with the benefit of watching a lot of international soccer and Premier League soccer, not only English Premier, but Serie A and League One and all of that, comes the tendency of players to, play to the referee.
You might have been able to hear the cry of one more as Garcia was lurking on the far side. Instead, Swarthmore looking to build here. This is Stevens. Hecht lost his footing going for the ball.
Yeah, good team defense by the Garnet right there to try to either win the ball or at least prevent an attack from moving forward. They did a good job forcing the forwards to turn back, knock it back to their keeper, and set up again.
Stevens dispossessed from behind. That's Dean Chong getting involved once again. Caligari combining with Henry Lin. And Chong stood straight up by Carroll. Patient switch from Juan Rivera there. And you do get a sense, Jim, that this Haverford back line very patient with the ball at their feet.
Yeah, no question about it. Nice defensive play there by Kaito Akina, who came back and knocked that ball off of Miller's foot to gain a throw-in for his squad.
Aialawope, a titan out there, picks out Hikino. Caligari tries the quick switch. Koulibaly. Caligari absorbs a shove through the back and settles for the throwing off of Carroll.
Yeah, you definitely get the sense that Aialawope, given the opportunity to win the ball, is going to come out of it because he's a big, strong human. And something.
And Miller do battle down in the corner. Aquino upended. That's going to be a free kick. Well, Caleb Miller has been playing right on the line, and now he's given away a free kick right on the line.
Yeah, and I have a feeling the referee just said something to Miller right there, saying, okay, watch it.
Jim, this is kind of a weird variation on a corner kick because it's in close enough. You really have to change the trajectory on the ball to get it to drop in a dangerous position.
Well, and the goalkeeper has to respect the possibility of the ball going over his head to the back, to the backside of the net. So less the case with, with an absolute corner.
Nolan over the ball. It's Nolan curling away, headed up towards Stevens, and the big man tripped up, nothing in it. Ball inside. Caligari can't hold it up. It's volleyed away. That's good defense from the forwards. And realistically, Stevens should have had a free kick outside his own 18 there and a chance to clear his lines.
Well, at the same time, the referee's being consistent. He's not calling, the what would otherwise be possibly soft call fouls.
It's the one game a year where you might spend $3 on getting a mouth guard beforehand, Jim.
Well, the difficulty is that if you let too many soft calls go, then the players may get a little bit more aggressive. And in a rivalry match, that can be a recipe for the temperature of the match getting out of hand quickly.
As we stand, 42nd minute, Haverford leads 2-1. Joseph Aialawope pulled a goal back a few minutes ago, and there's a free kick.
Yeah, so Jackson Haynes is going to have to keep an eye out. That'll be something that the coach will talk to him about at halftime. He's already on a yellow card. The last thing Swarthmore needs is to be playing a man down, being behind a goal.
As a coach, Jim, do you try to attack the defender who's on a caution a little bit more if you think you can try to get him sent off, or does it not change much?
I think you absolutely do if you have the opportunity. But soccer is a free-flowing game. It's pretty hard to deliberately set up to do that.
Miller, high chopping ball into the 18, headed away by Haynes. Caligari volleys it free. Aialawope tracking it down like a center fielder. So too was Ward. Big touch. And upended on a hard challenge, leading to a throw-in. Great defense there.
Now, that may be the kind of foul that I think the referee should have called. because that was pretty aggressive. And, that starts getting blood boiling and not exactly the recipe for a balanced afternoon. Okay, there's a foul, clearly a foul. And, if this match, the temperature of the match gets too hot, you'll find the referee doing things to slow down the play. He'll, that when somebody gets a throw in and inevitably cheats up 3 to 4 yards, he'll make them go back. He'll make free kicks set up and make sure that the player's giving him 10 yards just to slow things down.
Nolan, short run up, driven back post. Ailawope was in the neighborhood, and Ayafreda collects the ball on the bounce. Jim, really feels like the momentum has shifted from those opening 15 minutes, which were all Haverford. Certainly the goal changed things, but you have to say Swarthmore has had much better runs of the ball over these last 10 to 15.
Yeah, and you have to say that
1 minute remaining in the half.
Dean Chong has just been a force in terms of creating offensive opportunities. A very scrappy player, not very tall.
Ball here testing the back line. Ayafreda calls off the Dogs.
So it'll be interesting to see what kind of adjustments Coach Wagner has in store for the Garnet going in. The Fords have to be happy that they're up 2-1, but boy, Koulibaly hasn't hardly touched the ball for the last 15 or 20 minutes as Swarthmore's intensity has picked up very dramatically.
20 seconds, time perhaps for one last throw of the dice for Swarthmore. Aquino. Nolan looking for Ailawope.
9,
Under 10.
7,
Clearance is blocked. Bounces toward the touchline.
3,
And no one will be able to get on the end of that. So a red-hot start from the Haverford Forwards saw them up 2-0 inside of 7 minutes, but Joseph Ailawope just past the half-hour mark pulls the goal back. And Jim, it's another classic Swarthmore-Haverford match.
Yeah, I mean, this afternoon's match with the women was the same kind of a situation, but you must say that beautiful crossbar by Garcia and then the very calm settling of the ball and the goal from Ailawope was just exactly what Swarthmore needed to get back into this match. Their intensity picked up, and it should be a very interesting second half.
We'll take a break. Fords lead 2-1 through 45 minutes of play here at Clothier Field and on the Centennial Conference Network. Welcome back in to Clothier Field here in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. Set for the start of the second half between the Swarthmore Garnet and the Haverford Forwards here on the Centennial Conference Network. Andrew Harvey alongside my father, Jim, from the Swarthmore class of 78. 2-1 the Forwards lead through 45 minutes of play. But, Jim, it was a better second half of the first half from the Swarthmore Garnet.
Well, we were talking about the fact that, the Fords scored 2 goals in 2 minutes in the 5th and 7th minute, and so it really put the Swarthmore team on its heels. But that 2-0 is one of the most dangerous leads in soccer, and that, were the Garnet to score, it would change the complexion of the match, and we've certainly seen that. I mean, beautiful arching cross from Garcia to the foot of Aliwobe, who very calmly put a first touch and then tucked it into the corner of the net. So it'll be very interesting to see. You could see the last few minutes of the first half that Swarthmore really picked it up very aggressively, and the Fords had a tough time even making it across half field.
Joseph Ailawope standing over the ball in center circle, set to get us underway for the second half. And Jim, you were talking about at halftime, beyond the ramifications of tonight's match, which, again, right, a big point of pride for these two teams. You think about the history of these two programs, and we took a moment first to remember former Garnet head coach Kurt Lauber, who was the helm of this program for 8 or 9 seasons, was it, Jim, back in the 80s. And some alumni there making a donation to Coach Wagner. And, you were talking to me as you were coming back to your seat about seeing an old teammate of yours down in the stands. And the sense of community around this team in particular and all it has accomplished over the years really does seem to go back deep here as we get the second half underway here at Clothier.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, I don't know the history of Haverford's men's soccer, but Swarthmore's men's soccer team has over 100 years of tenure, and that's highly unusual no matter what size school. And so there is a lot of history. There is a lot of pride on both of these programs' parts. And even though there's nothing postseason on the line for either one, winning is very important, not only just by virtue of bragging rights, but also as it sets up for the next year as the coach looks forward to 2023.
Leo Hecht won a free kick on advantage there. Saw him kind of stumbling and bumbling his way downfield trying to chase the ball. Obviously couldn't recover. It'll be a free kick. So Hecht and Nolan over this.
And you really get the sense that if Swarthmore can get the ball to the feet of Ailawope, this game could be knotted up, and boy, then we'd really see some intense competition.
Nolan, low-driven ball, straight into the air, a flick-on header, and right into the hands of Iafreda. Jim, do I have it wrong that as a keeper, honestly, it's sometimes the low ones that you worry about more than the great big balls knocked up in the air?
Well, that kind of a service, a low driving service like that, and then a player potentially just putting a slight touch on it is way more difficult because the ball is coming with pace from distance, and you have to read and honor the angle of the original shot, but then reacting to a ball that's coming off a player potentially at a high speed but at a slightly different angle could be very, very tough.
Clock going to stop here for a forward who stayed down on the far touchline. I think that might be Caleb Miller, who's trying to fight his way back to his feet. Jim, we also at halftime had a chance to honor the new inductees for the 2022 Garnet Hall of Fame. We were at the Hall of Fame dinner last night, and among the honorees, obviously, Jim, the 1977 men's tennis team that won a national title, the first of several, we might add, for the Swarthmore Garnet. And, of course, Morgan Langley, the class of 2011, who's gone on to have by far the most success in the professional ranks of any Garnet men's soccer player, spent time in Major League Soccer, spent time over in Ireland with St. Patrick Athletic. We had a chance to sit next to him at that dinner, and it just kind of is always great to get a sense of not just the personality, but the character of people who've come through and had a chance to be a part of this athletics program.
Well, and this is a sport that engenders great love. I mean, you're talking about Morgan Langley, who got inducted, and he now works for the MLS. So it's not unusual for people that have gone through collegiate soccer to be so passionate about it to continue to do so. I certainly have done that in my life as a coach, a ref, etc. And it is terrific to see just how much, playing college soccer is terrific, but also the impact that it has on your life after college.
Stathis Calatheus. Set to get us back underway. Derek Zhang, the first year from Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania. Went to the Deerfield Academy over there in western Massachusetts. Got a college buddy who's a computer science teacher at Deerfield, Jim. It's a small world.
Aha.
Calatheus, long looping throw from him. Blocks the clearance, steps into the penalty area, passes behind Aialowope.
Yeah. Calatheus is a very, very troubling player to guard because he's so quick. His change of direction is so profound and unexpected that it's very tough for people to get a sense of what he's going to be doing, whether he's defending you or whether he's got the ball at his feet.
Jackson Haynes, the only player in the referee's book through 45 minutes of play. Ball coming out wide for Garcia. Garcia slicing in here. Dean Chong on his left foot. Floats one to the back post. Nobody home. And pelted out the far touchline.
But again, Dean Chong being very creative and creating these scoring opportunities. That was a beautifully floated cross. Unfortunately, Aialowope couldn't get to it, but it was a beautiful cross.
Long looping throw from Calatheus. That might have slipped out of his hands. Chong, big header. Matt Heim pelts it free. Ball at midfield. And Jim, I've been meaning to ask, right? Obviously, in your day, no stranger to playing under the floodlights beaming down on this beautiful, very level, artificial turf surface. But have you ever played on a pitch with an S that size?
No, and not only that, we didn't have lights either. So, at certain times of the fall when it got dark early, and back then you did play overtime, you could have some pretty difficult times seeing the ball. But no, it's a lovely facility. They've done a beautiful job improving the facility and the track. I think really powerful things are ahead for Swarthmore Athletics over the next few years.
Long heave intended for Aialowope, broken up by Tomas Ascoli. Near side, Juan Rivera, Luca Mello. Hecht trying to drop that ball in behind, so tough to get the weight right.
Yeah, that was a wishful pass to be best.
Iafreda, I think, just happy to get that away.
Well, and Aialowope was playing up top and put some pressure on Iafredo, so he had to clear the ball.
Coming for Haverford, number 5, Derek Zane.
Reintrup. Koulibaly out wide. He's upended. That'll be a free kick.
Yeah, it was a very, clearly it was a foul, but also Koulibaly tried to thread the needle between two players and ran into him and then fell down. So it'll be interesting to see. This is a very dangerous spot for a free kick because the goalie has to respect a shot, not only to the front post, to the rear post, and the defenders, because of how far up the pitch, you can see they're lining up at maybe the penalty spot or the 10-yard line. So it's very hard to hold the forwards out of the box. And so this is a very, very dangerous scoring opportunity.
Tomas Ascoli, Two-step run up, shovels that ball in far side. And he nearly put that in himself.
And that's what I was saying. You know, in other words, you have to, as a goalie, I don't know if you noticed, but he was near the near post because you have to, you cannot give up the short post. But a long penetrating shot to the far post, very tough to defend and also gauge the front post. Cerveny did well to get back to that spot, and they were lucky that ball didn't go in.
Here's Garcia. Clothier. Zhang. Broken up by Hecht.
A beautiful flick pass there.
Sean Nolan hard in there and slow back to his feet, but does recover. Long throw from Zhang. Thumped upward by Henry Lin. On the ground toward Garcia. Ailawope, he's tripped up there. Didn't get enough of the ball to be given a foul. Clothier holds on to it. Coming inside for Dean Shang. Chang. Garcia out wide, and Iafreda, I think, maybe a little bit happy that ball rolled all the way into him.
Yeah, I think Ailawope was not expecting a low cross there. You know, in order to have put a deflection on that, he had to have been moving with the belief that the ball was going to come along the ground to the near post, and that's very tough to anticipate.
Chang, good tackle there by Tomas Ascoli. Could be on here for the Fords. They go out wide to Luca Mello. Heavy touch from him. Tackled away by Clothier. Caligari gets to it. Now Dean Shang. Ailawope, he's offside there.
Yeah, no question about it.
Really well worked by Derek Zhang, the last defender on the backside who stepped up right when he needed to. He put Ailawope offside.
No question about it. And actually, both of the two remaining defenders back there did the same thing, which is very effective when it works. But
60% of the time, Jim, it works every time.
The danger is the times where it doesn't work, and now suddenly there's a one-on-one on your goal. I'm not a huge fan of playing an aggressive high trap, and it's kind of standard fare in college, but I think you got to be careful because you're depending on the referee, the linesman, to make the call.
Big switch over to Rivera. Haynes pokes that away. Garcia looking in for Caligari.
Yeah, Caligari doing a good job of moving to the point of contact to pick up the ball. That's not something that we were seeing in the first 20 minutes from Swarthmore, but that certainly has picked up since they knotted a goal and gotten us back up to a more competitive situation.
Lovely tackle there from Caligari. And I think was feeling himself a little bit when he came up. Thought, I'm just going to solve all the problems with this big ball right now. Overhits Ailawope. Brandon Cramlett set to return now for the Garnet. as we tick toward the hour mark. 57th minute. Rivera. Ascoli. Poked away by Hecht. Hecht, the big
Nice
switch.
ball.
Garcia plays it off his chest. The return for Hecht. He's being closed down from behind. Hecht from distance. And misses well wide.
Now that's the kind of shot that you want to see. And Hecht was smart to make the shot from there. The goalie, seeing that ball explode off a guy's foot from 30 yards, that's scary.
Well, Joseph Aialowope going to head off here. He scored Swarthmore's lone goal of the contest so far that made it a 2-1 game back in the 31st minute. He's been on since about 10 minutes before then. Now the Garnet have to look elsewhere for an equalizer. Here's Ward. Back to Maurer. A fire alarm going off in one of the dorms across the stadium. You might be able to see the lights flashing there.
Well, and as we discovered, that also happened to us last night in the Hall of Fame dinner. So,
hey, apropos of nothing, tonight's promotional consideration for tonight's broadcast brought to you by your local volunteer fire department.
well, better than Quaker Oats. No, wait a minute. Okay,
grab a ladder.
We can't
and
be
a
having
bucket.
that.
Lovely back heel there. Sets off Rivera. Looking inside for Reintrup. One more for Ascoli. And more for Koulibaly. And turned to the outside by Matthew Lorig.
Koulibaly's pace is just such a danger for Swarthmore defenders because, his acceleration without the ball is impressive, but with the ball is maybe even more impressive. So they have to be very careful with him because you can tell he can score from anywhere almost at any time.
Floating cross from Zhang. Chong sends it back out wide. Calafias. Lorig. Settled there by Ward. Heim. Well-weighted through ball there, looking for Mello. Henry Lynn goes to ground. Mello makes him play the fool. Cut back cross. Reintrup far post. And he just fanned it. It's gone out for a corner.
Yep. Nice defensive play there because that deflection was the difference. That ball was slotted to go into the far post. So great job on the defender. I'm sorry I didn't get the number, but whoever put his foot in just saved a goal.
60th minute, third corner of the match for the Fords. It is Tomas Ascoli. In-swinger on the way. High floating ball. Back post. Met by the head of Max Maurer. But couldn't put any venom behind it, Jim.
Well, the Fords have basically gotten back on the front foot here in the last few minutes. Swarthmore needs to get possession, move the ball up, and get a shot on goal here.
Garcia has exactly that in mind, going up to Cramblett. Dean Chong loses his footing. Zhang. Very long ball all the way through to Cerveny. And pardon me, I think we've had a keeper change at halftime. I think that's Max Krall back in there for the Swarthmore Garnet.
Yeah. And actually, I was about to say I'm glad to see him, get a punt in because often goalkeepers are taught to roll the ball out and let him play out of the back. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just boot the ball up the field, get everybody an opportunity to get some real estate. The forwards have been very effective at a high pressing, defending attack, and with that, you create turnovers. So I think that was a good clearance in that case.
Ward calling his own number, hits that straight into Garcia. Garcia shovels it up to Caligari. Ward doing really well to recover, spares his own blushes there. Now they hit it down the line for Mello. Mello has Reinstrup in the middle. Henry Lynn gets a foot to it.
Yeah, it was a really nice job by Henry Lynn to recover. You saw he was taking a couple steps to try to go up and contest what he thought might be a ball he could get to. Realized he was completely out of position. And the Fords played a beautiful through ball down the side. He got back to the point of attack. And this is, something that high school players can really benefit from. You get back to the point where the attacker has to stop and turn the ball. That's where you need to defend, not just chase the ball and try to steal the ball, because otherwise you're just wasting your energy.
We've played over an hour, 63 minutes in. 2-1 in favor of the visiting Haverford Fords. Swarthmore looking for the man who's going to rise up and provide him an equalizer. Haverford, meanwhile, has stayed dangerous, Jim, but for some excellent defensive play from the Garnet. Clothier up there to Garcia. Dean Chong, heavy touch from him, turned over to Heim.
But what I like about Dean Chong, he lost the ball and went immediately to try to win it back. And that's the kind of intensity you want to see in a midfielder.
Koulibaly working up to Brian Lorenz. Jackson Haynes cleaned out from behind after the ball had gone away. That ought to be a yellow card at their next stoppage.
And I think we will see it. You can see the referee pointing at that player.
Loss of footing there. And a clean tackle from behind, says the referee. Mello has a man on the overlap, doesn't hit Rivera, goes inside to Heim. Calafias up to Garcia. Garcia, lovely ball here for Cramblett. Cramblett, can he bring it under control? Back to his right. Cramblett fires, the shot blocked.
No, he made the wrong decision there to try to draw the ball back across. Better to hit that ball with his left foot or the outside of his right on a shot.
Hecht going to his left. Space for a cross. Blocked by Iafreda, loose in front of goal. Fan to the right side. There's no one there to hit it. In comes Caligari. The shot blocked at point-blank range and gone into touch.
Well, that was a great sequence for Swarthmore College right there, because they had a wonderful opportunity created by an absolutely beautiful ball hit with the outside of the foot from the right side. And the benefit of that outside foot hit is the ball curls and slows down. And on a slick surface, it's in the 40s. There's dew on the ground. That's a really beautiful ball he put through. Unfortunately, I think the Swarthmore forward made the wrong decision to cut the ball back. What he effectively did by doing that is he brought both defenders back into the play.
Well, Brian Lorenz was cautioned for that tackle on Jackson Haynes at the last stoppage. It took about 3 minutes for the ball to go into touch. It is Swarthmore's throw-in. They've had a substitution. Kaito Hikino back on for the Garnet. And Caligari back off to the touchline.
And Caligari had a very nice run of play there. He was a force in the midfield, attacking midfield, creating some opportunities.
Dean Chong looking to create. There's Miller. Back to Zhang. Zhang upended, not much left to the imagination on that tackle. And Dean Chong not offering many excuses either. He knows he's guilty. Jim, in your experience, can a player kind of talk himself out of a yellow card if it's really borderline, if he immediately goes, yep, you got me?
Well, I think so. As a referee, it aggravates you to no end to have literally every foul you call somebody complaining about. Like, oh, I didn't touch him. If you do, you just say, yep. I mean, I played basketball in high school long enough ago, where you were supposed to, if the ball was a foul was called, you raise your hand. That doesn't happen anymore, of course. But yeah, I do think you're right, Andrew. I think you can manage the referee by acknowledging that, yep, I did it.
Now, Jim, had they cut the bottom out of the wicker basket that you guys used at the hoop back in those days?
Yeah, the peach basket, exactly. Thank you very little. I'm not quite that old.
Liam O'Malley back in here for the Fords. And so, too, is Adrian Marcelli. Marcelli, I believe.
Well, Dean Chong has played a fabulous game for Swarthmore this evening. He just really has made a huge difference.
So now it is Marcelli's turn to try to make something happen. Might see Ailawope again. Might see Dean Chong again offside against Garcia.
I disagree with that call. I don't think he was offsides. I mean, it certainly didn't look like it to me.
Thumping kick from Ben Ward there. Here's Reintrup. Gone wide, it's O'Malley. O'Malley steps topside, cross is blocked. Garcia did very well to get a touch to that at all. Marcelli underneath it. Hikino. Ascoli, Reintrup. Ascoli takes over once more. Koulibaly inside the area. Shot blocked.
Yeah, and the defender did a great job not giving him the center of the pitch. He forced him to go outside, making that block possible. That's the one thing you want as a goalie, is your defenders to force the play outside and not allow them to cut it back into the middle of the pitch. So good job there.
Thrown to O'Malley. Back down the line, Reintrup going to lose out to Sean Nolan. Max Crawl floats that ball into touch. Clothier got the ball cleanly. Tackle from behind there. Advantage played by the referee. Garcia's brought that down beautifully. Well, it would have been something really special for Garcia if he'd held on to control of that ball. And cannot keep that ball in touch. And we're going to see another yellow card after the advantage. This one, I believe, belongs to Tomas Ascoli for a challenge there that brought down Calafias from behind.
And good job on the ref's part to maintain that. That was over the top, and Calafias remains on the pitch at midfield.
Well, the team's going to take advantage of the opportunity, try to get some water, a chance to talk things over. Better second half, Jim, out of Swarthmore. Oliver Garcia has been excellent in the forward band. He just hasn't been able to get the last little bit to come off for him, which has kind of been, according to Eric Wagner, the story of the season.
Yeah, and, having said that, his first touch on balls coming in from weird angles, high pace, is really remarkable. I mean, that, as you pointed out, amazing first touch, almost was able to turn it into a goal-scoring opportunity. So you have to say that he's had a great match. Dean Chong created a lot of opportunities. Clothier has been terrific, and now you wonder with Clothier going off whether coach might put Dean Chong right back in there, because they have to have that kind of intensity to try to draw their way back to even in this match.
Well, Jim, from your mouth to Coach Eric Wagner's ears, Dean Chong marching toward the flag at midfield and appears set to return for Stathis Calatheus,
who's had a fabulous game.
And most importantly of all, coming off under his own power here. So we'll keep an eye on Calatheus here on the touchline, see if there might be a shot of him returning. Meanwhile, keep your eyes peeled for Joseph Ayalawope, man who tallied the goal for the Garnet. It is Haverford's throw-in on the near touchline, just to the left of Swarthmore's technical area. Clock stopped in the 69th minute. There's the whistle. And there's the throw. Marcelli up the line toward Garcia, thumped away by Maurer.
Yeah, that was a hopeful pass, hoping that his player would be able to run onto it. Again, Dean Chong steps on the pitch and is battling 2 or 3 players for the ball. That's what you need in that, attacking center mid position.
Heim, wide to Zhang. Hecht intercepts. Marcelli striking through for Cramblett.
Those kinds of balls on a grass pitch, you could probably feel pretty comfortable that the player may get to. On this artificial surface, it's very difficult to weight those passes properly, and that was a beautiful pass.
Long looping throw, header by Zhang. Cramblett pulls it down, steps inside the area, and well cleared by Ascoli. Thrown back to Kroll, who's under duress here. Ooh, just barely got that away. Credit Reintrup, who ran that almost all the way down. Andrew Stevens set to step back on, and looks like he's going to slot in for Meinhard Reintrup, a player who hasn't had too much of the game come his way, Jim, but when it has, he's looked very dangerous.
Well, and as you pointed out just a couple of minutes ago, they're going to bring in Ayalawope back, as they need to, because I think you need that spark, that extra intensity, that acceleration, and the pace on the shot to tuck one in and equalize this very entertaining, very competitive soccer match.
Koulibaly, who, to my recollection, hasn't had a moment's rest over the span of about 71 minutes here. Sorry, 61 so far. No, 71. Chipped through. Here's Hikino. He's got Garcia to the inside. His cross won't reach him.
Yeah, I think he was just rushed himself there.
Partial clearance. Sprayed across the top of the box. Henry Lin cuts it back. Dean Chong. Hikino. Lin. Swings across in. Broken up. That was Ward who got a header to it.
And that's the right idea. You want to have those penetrating, curling crosses into the box for somebody to run onto.
Chong trying to do just that for Marcelli. Chong pulls it out of a pile. Hikino. The return. Hikino atop the box. His shot blocked as it comes through. Falls to Garcia. He can't get around it. Lynn. Or rather, this is Cramblett working in the alleyway. Defender all over him, and it's gone out for a goal kick.
Obviously, the Swarthmore fans disagreeing with the referee's assessment of it being a goal kick, but really nice combination play. You have to say that Swarthmore in the last 4 or 5 minutes has really stepped up their match, and they're trying very hard to get this match even.
So Ilowope back on for Cramblett. Everyone contesting it. Marcelli settles underneath, up toward Hikino. Player tripped over the ball. Dean Chong. Garcia outside of the right foot. Hikino nearly brought that down inside the area. Now Nolan. He's pressing forward. Slicing in, the left-footed shot blocked. That was Matthew Lorig. Leo Hecht floats that into space.
Yeah, you don't want to make those clearances to to the onrushing attackers in the middle of the field.
Ilowope.
Yeah, beautiful first touch by Ilowope.
Now, couldn't keep that in play, but the man just seems unflappable, Jim.
Yeah, no, he's obviously a very gifted attackman. I think the thing that he's going to have to really work on is just how he makes runs to entice his teammates to feed the ball to his feet, because clearly, he looks dangerous in the air, but boy, the ball at his feet, you could see a shot come out very quickly.
Well, the referee signaled for advantage pretty clearly. None developed, but no whistle came.
Yeah, and that's why you heard the fans complaining.
Big touch into space. Jackson Haynes over to cover. Haynes running with pressure on his shoulder. Garcia, Hikino. Marcelli drifting up the far sideline. Chong trying to force his way through, over hits Hikino.
Yeah, his teammates have to understand that Chong on the move is going to probably be able to hit you with a pass. Better to be in motion than standing and waiting for it. And I think that's what happened on that particular exchange.
Hecht pulls the ball free. Finds Hikino. Now Garcia. He's a madman with the ball in the air. Look at him go. Can't quite carry it through everybody, but looked like something out of a circus act, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to control the ball with, up in the air on your knees and that kind of thing, but it's far better to do it and keep it on the ground.
Ball struck the referee, came straight back to Heim, so no whistle. Again, it must lead directly to a scoring opportunity or change possession in order to be awarded as a drop ball. Hecht. Inside for Hikino. Garcia. Garcia trying to drop this in back post. Marcelli lurking. Koulibaly now playing at fullback. Hecht gets there. Hikino gets there. Dean Chong gets there. Chong dribbling through here. Trying to lay it off for Ilowope.
And he almost did, in fact. That's
Lorig, low cross, dipping in, pelted back out by Max Maurer.
Nice job by Nolan to control that ball with his chest. That's a tough technical play to pull off.
Well, the Garnet trying to batter down the gates of this Haverford defense. They've held strong so far. Antonio Caligari ready to come back in for Swarthmore.
And I like this move because Caligari was very productive when he had that attacking center mid position going on.
Hecht wide to Hikino. Hikino, low cross.
Okay.
Taken off his feet, and it's a corner. First of the match for Swarthmore. Caligari wants in. Caligari gets in. Here he comes for Marcelli. '78th minute. It's a line drive corner toward the far post, and Iafreda read it all the way, Jim.
Yeah, and that's just too close to the goalkeeper. I mean, that's a yard off the line, and he absolutely has to control that ball, and he did a good job doing just that.
Jackson Haynes, backwards off his head. Leo Hecht. Aialowope,
Beautiful
Caligari
combination
in
there.
the space. Hecht at a full gallop, sliding in. Had to work really hard to get back there, but did enough to play it off Ben Ward.
Yeah, great job there. A beautiful combination. Very quickly moving the ball up the right flank of the pitch.
Heim, the first header. Pile of bodies inside the area. Leo Hecht came up over his defender and landed right on his side. And I think that might actually be Hecht's yellow card. It is, as he gets back to his feet. And I believe that was... Well, I initially had thought it was Koulibaly, but I actually now think it's Stevens that just got walloped by Leo Hecht trying to win that ball in the air.
Well, but it tells you that just the pure desire that Hecht had to try to get that ball. As a teammate, even as a coach, you can't discourage that. Yeah, it deserved a card, but you like to see that kind of intensity.
Fourth player booked tonight, 2 from each side, and Jim, that's about right. You know, it's been a hard-fought game. It has not been a dirty game.
Nope. And the referee's done a very nice job of controlling the temperature of the match.
Henry Lynn. Free kick given on advantage against Aialowope, I believe.
Yeah, and you can see Aialowope is letting that get to him. That's something psychologically that is not all that productive. I get it. It's frustrating. You don't feel like you deserve the call, but throwing your hands up isn't going to engender any benefit to the referee.
Floated ball through here. Kral collects. Meinhardt Rentrup getting set to return. Forwards have it back. Ascoli. Hecht pelts it away. And Rentrup allowed back on here. And it looks like a Garnet player might have just talked themselves into a yellow card. That's Sean Nolan, booked here for dissent in the 81st.
Well, we talked about Sean Nolan's 4,000 minutes of playing for Swarthmore. Possibly that might not have been the smartest thing to do, but with 9 minutes left, you hope it doesn't make any difference in the match.
Unless, of course, Nolan's playing 8-dimensional chess and knows that if he gets booked for dissent, then the clock stops. But it's a bit early to be going to that well. Garcia, lovely work to find Hikino. Caligari up for Ailawope. Turns past one defender, can't turn the second. That was last off Ailawope, held in by Lin. Pelted downfield by Haynes. Bouncing ball. Hikino gets a touch to it. Redirected in front of the area. Penalty given. Jim,
Okay.
it's a mirror image of the women's match from earlier today.
Absolutely.
The Garnet have pulled a goal back, and now, with under 10 to play, they have a chance to equalize. The thing that we shouldn't say out loud, the Garnet in the first match had that penalty stopped at the left post.
Yeah, no, first of all, a beautiful, timely, long ball from Jackson Haynes. He hit that beautifully. And
well, hold on a second. The referee coming over to explain something to the Swarthmore bench. He pointed to the spot. He's given offside. There will be no penalty. They're saying Kaito Hikino was offside when that ball came in, and the Swarthmore bench cannot believe it.
yeah, it's pretty tough because that would have been a game changer. It's really too bad. And, you know, we don't have the angle to determine whether he was off or not. I mean, it's, you know, when you go to referee school, you realize if you're even a yard off, it's really hard to see. So from our standpoint here at midfield, no way to know. But you have to like the aggressiveness of the idea of the long through ball, and you know, if they can continue to press, you just kind of get the sense they may be able to tuck one in.
Well, moments like that can be very deflationary for a team. Garcia driving into Chong here. Swarthmore's throw. Thrown to Nolan. Back wide Garcia. Outside of the right foot. Cross coming in. Garcia bats it down. Garcia, low cross, blocked. It rattles around, and it's given as a goal kick. And Jim, the referee's got that absolutely right.
Absolutely. It came back off of Garcia, but boy, you love to see that. First of all, the first one I liked was the service in with the outside of the foot, because it creates a spin. It's unexpected in the game. It's a little bit off speed, sort of like a knuckleball almost in pitching in baseball.
Underway from Ayafreda. Ailawope brings the ball under control.
Beautiful job to control that ball.
Trying to slip it to Hikino, Caligari, Garcia. Garcia stepping in here, firing, shot blocked. Garcia trying to drop one back post. Hecht is onside, goes for the volley, and it fans. Just fell over the laces, Jim.
Yep.
Clock stopped here as the referee looks like he's checking on Koulibaly, who has his hands on his knees there, and they're going to bring the trainer on to look at him.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about him going off. The trainer's on the pitch. So if he's able to walk, he should be off the pitch. And I'm sure that's what Coach Wagner is talking to the third official, or the linesman on the right, on the team's side of the pitch.
They're going to sub Luca Mello on for Paul-Andre Koulibaly. Clock stopped here in the 84th minute.
Well, that's a little weird because you had the coach out on the pitch, not the trainers. So
Hecht too hard for Aialowope. Swarthmore driving here. They've had the forwards back on their heels for 25 minutes. Iafreda out the edge of his area and collects it under duress.
yeah, a nice aggressive move off his line to collect that ball. And, you know, every time the goalie touches the ball there, that's another 15, 20 seconds of the waning seconds of this match that they don't have to play. So it's game management.
Henry Lynn wins a throw-in. Into Dean Chong. Slipped out to Lorig here. Hecht for Caligari. Nolan. Garcia trying to slide that through just a bit too far for Caligari.
And again, good game management skills by Iafreda. You know, Swarthmore wasn't paying attention. Ball was at his feet, and he's just happy to stand there, use up clock.
Emphatic clearance by Ward there. Big touch, crawl off his line. Getting to know Brian Lorenz a little bit. Time is short for the Swarthmore Garnet. Aialowope gone down there. He's looking for a free kick, but he's going to have to do better than that. Far side to Mello. Mello tied up here by Henry Lynn. Really good footwork from Mello. Reintrup brings it down, and the flow to effort.
Yeah, at this point, Swarthmore's going to be very, very deliberate about their attacks. Here's
This
an
could fall to
opportunity.
Garcia under control, tried to go back inside for Aialowope. And I think Garcia's disinclination to just shoot it on his left foot really let him down there.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen that, and unfortunately, again, you're passing the ball into the defenders where they are, not taking the ball outside where they aren't. It seems pretty obvious and simple, but it's hard to do in the run of play.
Time is short. Luca Mello's thrown the ball away. Case to be made for delaying the restart of play, and the clock going to stop. Mello should be booked for that. If the referee's going to stop the clock for delaying the restart of play,
And you're absolutely right, Andrew.
you really should give a caution for that. Crawl gets us back underway. 2:30 to go. Swarthmore clawing now, looking for an equalizer. Dean Chong over the top. Iafreda collects it, goes to ground.
A little over 2 minutes left. Very tough uphill climb for the Garnet to try to get the equalizer.
O'Malley winning the throw-in along the far touchline. Derek Zhang, who's had a really fantastic game since he came in at that left back slot for Caleb Miller early in this second half.
Yeah, he's played very well all day for the forwards. Minute and a half left.
Crawl, let's fly. Garcia striking through, too much on it.
Yeah, that's just too vertical a ball. I mean, impressive that he could find a spot to put it to, but you're hitting it straight to the goalkeeper.
Iafreda punts it back. '90th minute, do or die time for the Swarthmore Garnet. Gone ahead, that's a long ball. Hikino won't get there. Thumped into touch. This long throw-in may well be the last chance of the game. It's taken short. Sean Nolan can't get the cross in. Swung over to Lynn, it's left in space. Luca Mello is going to have a chance to dribble free. Here's Lorenz. He's bound for the corner flag. 30 on the clock. And the clock gonna run out on the Swarthmore Garnet here.
Yeah, it was good clutch play, smart play on the part of the forwards there to use up clock.
Clock stopped with 17 seconds. Forwards taking too long on the throw-in for the referee's liking. They throw it into the corner, and here comes Heim, the big man, looking to just hold off these final ticks. And it is Haverford's throw-in. So 2 goals in the first 7 minutes, and it proves to be enough. Joseph Ailuope with a great goal to pull Swarthmore back within 1. But the attacks dry up in the second half, and Swarthmore ends their season on a 2-1 loss at home to their hated rivals.
Yeah, and, you have to say that the forwards played good enough soccer at the key points in the match to win. Swarthmore, once Ailuope had scored, really changed the complexion of the game. The intensity picked up. They were scrappy all over the pitch. It's a shame that offside call didn't give them that penalty kick opportunity with 7 minutes left. But you have to say that an excellent competitive game of soccer between two very storied, proud programs. And today, the Haverford forwards came out on top.
Well, Swarthmore finishes their season 1-6-2 in Centennial Conference play, 6-7-4 overall. The forwards with 4 wins on the season. They're 4-8-5, 2-5-2 in conference play. No postseason for either one of these sides, and they will go back to the drawing board and start figuring out how things will look in 2023. Jim, that is the end of Garnet Weekend here at Swarthmore, and as someone who's been involved, I was going to say as far back as you were, I'll just say for as long as you have been, I'd just love to get a couple thoughts from you to kind of sum up the overall experience of being back and taking part.
It was really fun to get back here. It was a beautiful fall weekend both days. Some fun activities yesterday, the Hall of Fame dinner, seeing my friends on the 1977 team go into the hall. This morning, being able to see the new dining hall, which is an amazing facility, and call 2 wonderful games of soccer on this beautiful new pitch. It's been an excellent weekend, one that I would highly encourage any alumni out there to consider coming back for next year.
Well, that's a good a note as tended on as any. That's going to do it for us here from Clothier Field. Once again, your final score, Fords 2, Garnet 1. For Jim Harvey from the class of 78, I'm Andrew Harvey saying so long, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.